Okay, so now for the introduction of our research, we chose the topic which is exploring the impact of gender expression through clothing on students. This refers to the issue on how students expresses themselves through clothing, which faces various challenges such as social stigmatization, bullying, and discrimination, which could negatively affect their academic performances and as well as their mental health. While its research gap addresses the existing research on gender and fashion, which remains in understanding the specific impacts of gender expression through clothing on students' experience. Often, most of the studies only focuses on broader topic, but they do not dive deeper into the challenges and as well as the opportunities that relates to clothing as a form of expression within the school setting. They unfortunately lack on a comprehensive exploration of how clothing choices affects the student's sense of belongingness, academic engagement, and as well as their psychological well-being. Okay, so according to Ozdamar 2015, he elaborates on the fact that clothing can serve as a tool to maintain ecological, social, and cultural diversity. It further encouraged innovative business models that could transform into substantial movement to move away from the growing trend of fast fashion. And clothing is more than just a functional necessity. It serves as a powerful form of self-expression, allowing individuals to communicate aspects of their identity, personality, and gender without words. For students in universities like Western Mindanao State University, clothing becomes an important tool in navigating social spaces, forming impressions, and asserting individuality. And gender expression through clothing in a particular enables students to present their identities authentically, yet it can also expose them to social judgment of discrimination when their choices deviate from traditional norms. Okay, so according to his research, he highlights that attire plays a significant role in identity, signaling, and social interaction, and that negative responses to non-conforming dress can create stress, anxiety, and feelings of exclusion. While existing studies have examined gender identity and fashion broadly, few have explored the direct impact of clothing-based gender expression within the school setting, especially in Philippine universities. There is limited understanding of how clothing choices influence students' sense of belonging, confidence, and participation in campus life. This gap is particularly significant because universities are spaces where students develop socially, emotionally, and academically, and yet institutional policies or cultural norms may restrict authentic self-expression through their attire. By doing so, the study intends to provide insights that may inform policies and practices to create a more inclusive, supportive, and affirming campus environment where all students feel free to express their gender identity through clothing.
This study is conducted to explore how gender expression through clothing affects the students of Wmsu Ipil campus. Clothing can serve as a powerful form of expression, and the way students present themselves often reflect their identity, confidence, and sense of belonging. However, limitations imposed by social expectations or school policies can impact how freely students express their gender, which may influence their emotional well-being, social interactions, and engagement in school activities. Understanding these experiences is important because it provides insight into how students navigate their identities within the school environment. By examining the role of clothing in gender expression, this study seeks to highlight the challenges and opportunities students face in expressing themselves authentically. The findings of this research are significant for educators, administrators, and policymakers, as they can inform the development of more inclusive school practices and dress policies. Recognizing and supporting students' gender expression through clothing can foster a school environment that values diversity, promotes acceptance, and encourages students to feel confident, respected, and empowered to be themselves.
This study aims to explore the impact of gender expression through clothing on the Wmsu students. This research seeks to answer the following questions. Number 1, what are the impact of gender expression through clothing? Number 2, how does individuals address any gender discrimination in a way they dress? Number 3, what suggestions do students have to make the school environment more inclusive and respectful of different gender expressions through clothing? So now let's proceed to the significance of the study. This study is important because it raises awareness about the need for a safe and inclusive school environment. It aims to identify specific forms of harassment or discrimination that students may face based on their clothing choices. By doing so, it can help support students' mental health, academic success, and their ability to express their authentic identities. The focus of this research is not only on the clothing itself, but also on the fundamental rights of the students to feel safe, to be true to themselves, and to succeed in their education. The findings of the study have the potential to influence school policies, empower individuals, and improve the overall well-being of the students. This study will benefit the following groups. Number one is the students. This study benefits students by helping create a safer and more affirming learning environment where they can freely express their gender identity through clothing. The insights gained may lead to better school policies and support systems that protect students from bullying, discrimination, or emotional distress. As a result, students can focus more on their academic success and personal development without fear of judgment or ridicule. Number two is the teachers and faculty members. Teachers and faculty members can use the results of this study to better understand how students' clothing choices relate to their identity, comfort, and overall school experience. This enables educators to adopt more sensitive and inclusive teaching approaches, respond effectively to discrimination, and foster a classroom atmosphere where all students feel respected. It also equips educators with the knowledge to intervene appropriately in situations of bias or harassment. Future researchers. This study offers researchers valuable data and insights that can serve as a foundation for future studies on gender expression, school culture, and student well-being. It enriches academic literature by addressing a topic that remains underexplored in local contexts. Additionally, it opens opportunities for comparative research, policy evaluation, and cross-disciplinary studies in gender studies, education, psychology, and sociology. Fourth are the parents and guardians. Parents and guardians benefit from the study as it provides a deeper understanding of the challenges their children may face related to clothing and gender expression. The findings can help families support their children more effectively, communicate more openly, and collaborate with schools in ensuring student safety and emotional well-being. It also guides parents in advocating for their children's rights within educational institutions. Lastly, for the advocacy groups for gender equality. Advocacy groups focusing on gender equality can use the study's finding to strengthen awareness campaigns, promote policy reforms, and push for more inclusive educational environments. The study offers a real-life evidence that supports their work in fighting discrimination and fostering acceptance. It becomes a valuable resource in developing programs that uplift marginalized or vulnerable student groups.
This study will use qualitative data to gather information and explore the impact of gender expression through clothing on students. The qualitative data approach is appropriate because the research focuses on students' personal experiences and feelings about expressing their gender through clothing. The population of this study will consist of students from Western Mindanao State University, since the research centers on gender expression through clothing. The participants will be students who are willing to share their experiences and how they dress affects their confidence at school. The data gathering activities in this study involve conducting structured interviews with selected Wmsu students. Through guided interview questions, participants are encouraged to share their personal experiences, thoughts, and feelings related to gender expression through clothing. The interview allows students to speak more openly about how others treat them, whether they have faced discrimination, and how they cope with such situations. The data gathering activities in this study involve conducting structured interviews with selected Wmsu students. Through guided interview questions, participants are encouraged to share their personal experiences, thoughts, and feelings related to gender expression through clothing. The interview allows students to speak more openly about how others treat them, whether they have faced discrimination, and how they cope with such situations.
Results. The study explored how students at Western Mindanao State University express themselves through clothing and how university policies influence their experiences. The participants' responses reveal that clothing serves as a means of self-expression, creativity, and personal identity. Respondent 1 explained that clothing is how I present myself through clothing and styling my preferred style, and it clearly communicates who she wants to be seen as. Conclusion: the overall analysis shows that for Wmsu students, especially those in LGBTQ+ community, wearing the preferred clothing is deeply important because it confirms their identity and boosts their confidence, contributing significantly to their emotional well-being. While students appreciate that the university has a policy allowing some choice, like the answer of respondent 1 and respondent 3, one respondent's feeling of limitation by respondent 2 clearly indicates that the current rules are not fully working and still prevent some students from expressing their true selves. Recommendation: to fully support Wmsu students and positively impact their gender expression through clothing, the university should focus on two clear actions. First, the school must update its official rules. This means revising the student handbook to replace old, gender-specific uniform rules with new, gender-neutral standards that only focus on ensuring clothing is modest and fits properly, as students themselves suggested. This change directly addresses the sense of limitation felt by some and ensures that clothing can be a source of motivation and affirmation for all students, especially those whose gender identity doesn't fit traditional norms. Second, the university needs to actively promote a better campus culture. This involves taking steps like running mandatory training for staff to teach them about respect and inclusivity, and pronouns, ensuring that acceptance shown in the policy is reflected in daily interactions, thereby reducing the negative reactions from close-minded people and creating a fully supportive environment where students feel free and accepted.